Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. Today, we're going to be talking about Frosty Faustings and 2XKO and a few other things. But generally speaking, the main crux here is 2XKO had its first ever major because the game's finally out. It's had appearances in tournaments and it's been at EVO and it's been at a lot of places for a lot of reasons, but not when it's actually properly out. And here we are now at Frosty Faustings, released, and it had almost 1,000 entrants. So it was a very big deal. And of course, at any major, there's a lot of things going on, like a specific shout out. Like, say, Jacko RCB taking it home for the Satan Shark crew, winning Virtua Fighter with Jeffrey. And busting out the Big Doom wall combo with the nice little flavor of you always have to remember to down throw tech against Wolf and Jeffrey, or this happens, and then you lost the round. And you got an effective touch of death, which is, well, classy to see in grand finals. But yeah, so 2XKO definitely is the star of the show. It was kind of the headliner of Frosty Faustings in the end, the first big event for the game. And again, 900-ish entrants. It's a big deal. That's a lot no matter where you are in the world. And for the context of this year, that's more than Guilty Gear or Street Fighter. And the game itself, I think, made a very good accounting for itself. You're seeing the grand finals right now. This is one of the best grand finals I've seen in a very long time. Not the least of which, to spoil the match, I guess, but Bleed is our winner. And Bleed, I have to be perfectly honest, before this weekend, I did not know who they were. Bleed, he's 16 years old, which is an incredible accomplishment to win a major at 16. And me being in my early 40s and very early 40s, thank you very much, I'm not that old. That kind of makes me feel a little old. How is it allowed that a 16-year-old can win a major? We've already been here with Street Fighter with a bunch of young bloods as well, right? But this tweet puts it best. If this was 1XKO, this never would have happened. 2XKO dumbed down the games for the kids. 1XKO is where the real skill was at. And is that a joke post? Yes, but do I see that in earnest every single time there's a new entry in a new fighting game? Every single time. Okay, so 2XKO. Lots of players showing up, great matches, good stuff all around, but why the video, right? Well, there's some controversies, both about 2XKO and also about Frosty's itself. But before we get to that, just some interesting stats that have been collected. So 2XKO underwent a fairly major balance patch not too long ago, right? We covered it on the channel. And part of it is, kind of soften the top tiers and make the lesser characters a little bit better. And here we have our character representation for top 24. And as you can see, despite the patch, kind of almost same as it's ever been. Maybe a bit less Teemo, a bit more Warwick, but in line with expectations. Yo, Yasuo and Echo still run the game, right? And didn't Braum get those giant buffs? Yes. And you might notice there's 0 Braums in top 24, because realistically, even though I do think his buffs are somewhat significant, his worst match is Yasuo. And Yasuo is going to be the character you see the most. So in a tournament setting with the tournament and the patch being fairly new, it's not worth the risk, realistically. It's all the Yasuos you're going to run up against. And of course, this is just a snapshot in time. Metas will shift. We'll figure out the patch a bit more, but that's where we're at right now. We do also have specifically for top 8, obviously lots of echoes, but otherwise there's a decent amount of character variety here. It's not bad. Now, if there's any lessons to be learned from this, I guess we can take the official Riot response from official Riot employees. In that it's time to nerf Jinx again. Obviously, she's killing the game, right? Now, I actually just made a joke I just deleted because obviously, this is a joke as well, right? But some of you guys take things too literally, so I'm scared to make jokes sometimes. So yeah, that's a joke. So stats-wise, maybe some of the characters that are the usual villains are not quite gone yet. But Riot, well, they're committed to patching the game quite a bit, right? A lot more in some other contemporary fighting games. So eventually, it'll get to where it needs to go. Well, that's the idea anyways, hopefully, right? So that said, let's dig into the controversy. The controversy, what's the controversy? 2XKO is an industry plant. What? Well, there's a couple things leading up to it. One, it got people a little raw. So at Frosty's, there's lots of stages, there's lots of big screens, right? And specifically during Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising's top 8, so, pretty big deal, we're ending up the tournament. One of the screens was dedicated to the actual top 8 for Grand Blue, and everything else was 2XKO, and 2XKO was decidedly not in its top 8 just yet. top 24, so it's not a small deal. And yes, it's the bigger game, but it creates a little bit of a vision of impropriety that effectively 2XKO is squeezing out the smaller games. Now, is that the reality of the situation? Honestly, I don't, not even for a little bit. Honestly, it's nowhere near reality, right? Now, is it unfortunate? Yes. Maybe someone on the Frosties end should have took a look at that, because when a game, even if it's not the bigger of the games, you know, at the floor, on the tournament floor, whatever, right? When this top 8, it's their moment. It's their time to shine. And certainly the visual of literally every big screen in the place being on 2XKO, except for the one that's playing Grand Blue Top 8, that's not a great look. And maybe something should have been done to mitigate that at least, like give Grand Blue 2 screens. I don't know, right? And it caused the whole thing. Just a lot of negativity, like, oh, they bought their way in the Frosties and this, that, and the other. And like, for one, it's a little silly just because like it really doesn't work that way. You can buy as much as you want. It doesn't buy attendance numbers, right? And this was the most attended game for the tournament. And especially for Cygames, the people who are responsible for Grand Blue Versus, right? It's not like they're some small indie company. They are comparable to Riot. They make Uma Musume money, y'all. And just to pull back a previous tweet, there's a lot of tweets like this, though, but saying like Riot doesn't have roots in the community, which is really silly. Like the Cannon brothers, who are the leads over at 2XKO, they're literally the founders of EVO and also creators of Rollback Netcode. So like the roots go back pretty deep, actually. Not the least of which a lot of the 2XKO team is like the most from the community team of like any fighting game developer, just in terms of raw talent anyways. Like a large majority of the 2XKO team is from the FGC in some way, shape, or form. But that said, I'm bringing it up because it was a big blow up, and in the end, more than a little silly. People on site said basically it was only like that for just a few minutes, and then it was over with, and you know, screen time got shared, if you will. So definitely a bigger blow up on Twitter than the reality of the situation would probably dictate, although that's how social media works. So is evil Riot here to stamp out the homegrown culture of the FGC with their infinite money to bully Grand Blue and other smaller games? Probably not. I won't write it off for the future. We'll see. Like, if they pulled this extra screen nonsense against Virtua Fighter, maybe I'd have a different opinion on the matter. But for now, basically, an incredibly temporary situation created a big blow up on social media, as you do. And unfortunately, that's not the end of the Frosty Faustings Controversies. One of them's a little funny, you know, like maybe annoying, but a little funny. And one's like potentially criminal. So funny, what's funny? Well, apparently it really smelled. The single thing I've heard the most about this year's Frosty Faustings, more than any tournament thing, more than any hype moment in any game, or more than anything, is this place reeks. You'd think this place was a Smash major. Ho 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 ho, jokes. But yeah, you get to any convention, like, it's a problem, but apparently it was extra bad. Like, it was like super humid, super hot, and just, it was raw. And like countless tweets, there's so many I could show, I'm not going to go through everything. That was the #1 issue. So, yo, bring some deodorant, use the shower. You're an adult, probably. At least some kind of teenager. Like, you should not have to be told this kind of stuff. And yet, apparently, this was the majority issue. Maybe not the biggest issue, though, but apparently it was really bad and consistent, which is very unfortunate. Now, the biggest issue, once again, potentially criminal, is they had free water for the guests. Great. Like that's the way it should be. That should be the bare minimum for a lot of tournaments, is people can get their water, right? And apparently someone was spiking the water on more than one occasion. And lots of people reporting, yo, the water like is messing me up a little bit. Which, you know, people could have medical issues. Like there's a variety of things where like this ain't some high school movie prank, right? That ain't funny. That's actually messed up. I can only hope for the sake of the event, like there's cameras and they caught whoever did it, because like that at bare minimum, yo, that's unacceptable. Unfortunate PR with that and like the smell stuff and all the various mishaps that are going on. Obviously, most people had a pretty good time, I think, all in all. I've heard lots of positivity out of Frosty Faustings, but basically there's been some stuff that happened. And given that's kind of all happening around the big 2XKO big debut, if you will, I figured this is all kind of relevant for a video. That all said, though, that's the main crux of the news, and as far as 2XKO goes in the future, we'll be watching with great interest. They've been very public, apparently, that, there's going to be so many patches to come. The game you're playing right now, the game you're playing a few months from now, will likely feel different than the game you're playing today. That's a hell of a statement to make, right? So that means big changes, not little +1, -1 frame data changes, which you would think they should have settled that before they launched the game properly, but it'll be interesting to see it happen live, I guess. But that said, my friends, that's the news for the moment, and that's the news for now, and well, that's it for me. So, thank you very much for watching, hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.